Well, hey, welcome back. If you're anything like me, you're going to be sitting there scratching your head asking about lawnmowers because you're looking at the lay of the land, the rolling and the pitching and what have you. You made your first cut, maybe even your second cut by now, and you're looking at this wondering about putting down stripes and how this is going to look, and you're starting to notice those weeds that we cut down are starting to come back a little bit, and you're wondering about your mower. Well, a friend of mine down in North Carolina, him and his wife both read the Green Wizard's Guide, and the wife applied the system. I'm not 100% certain she told him she was going to do it. And he works on the road, so when he got back, there was this explosion. I wish I could have been there to see the look on his face. But I did hear the reaction. And as ecstatic and happy as he was, because they didn't have to put down fertilizers and they didn't have to do all this other stuff, the amount of work that it left him. Now understand, he's not cutting a pure breed of grass. Most of it is just ground cover. Most of it's just weeds. He's got a big piece of property. I can't blame him. I kind of understand. But at the same time, your more manicured lawns that are more a single breed of grass can be done very easily with a pretty inexpensive lawnmower. Your rotary or reel mower is going to give you your smoothest and cleanest cut because it's actually cutting each individual blade of grass. The cost efficiency, on the other hand, that's something totally different. For what we're trying to do here, I guess you got to kind of gauge it on your own wallet. Bigger is better. The bigger the deck, the wider the tires, the fewer passes that you have to make are all beneficial to the land. They're all beneficial to the soil. The more passes you have to make, the cleaner it looks, the sharper you can dress it, the better you can lay lines. I have both. I have a small push deck, not even self-propelled. I also have a riding mower. Nice big tires on it. A lot of people kind of get upset with me when I cut my grass every 3 days. Well, yeah. On Wednesday when I get home from work, the instantaneous thing is fire the tractor up. 10 minutes later, I'm walking back in the house. I'm done. It's a big deck. Whereas just before the weekend or just before a holiday, I want those stripes. I want that laid down beautifully. Whether I'm cutting diagonal squares, circles, straight lines, even going for the checkerboard look, that's a lot of walking. But I get the look. I get the look I'm after. So it's all in what you want to do. You've got to keep the blade sharp. That's key. That's a tremendous key here on our standard mowers from the big box stores. That blade's got to be sharp. I would not buy a mower today without buying backup blades to go with it. And I'm not saying that you got to change the blade. Well, if your property's big enough, I guess. But I'm not saying you change your blades out every time you cut. That's landscapers work. That, you know, they're once a week, if not more, they're changing the blades out. They have to. They're cutting so many yards. But your mower, your power, your RPMs, you know, and if you're dealing with roots and swales and this, that, and the other, you know, the larger the deck, the less forgiving it's going to be under some of those situations. We're going to correct those, but again, it's all in what you're looking to do. At this point in time, when we've still got brand new grass coming up that isn't quite ready to be cut, you know, I'm thinking your third week. That's when you want to kind of be looking at your patterns and how you want to cut this and where you want to go with this. At this point in time, following the Green Wizard's Guide, I'd be looking at those weeds that we really don't want. There's a recipe for a vinegar salt mix that I would be looking at dribbling on the stalks of these weeds that we cut down that are starting to come back again. This is kind of where I drift off. You know, your mowers are important, but if your grass has a surfactancy, we're kind of dealing with an oddball beast here. The surfactancy level is like a wax on your grass, in your weeds, and we kind of need to cut through that. There's a trick in the guide for breaking surfactancy all over the yard and cleaning the yard. Yeah, I said that. Cleaning the yard. You wouldn't think that we have to do that. You would think that, well, wait a minute, we're cutting grass every you know, once a week, and we're you know, constantly making it shorter, and what's this surfactancy thing? Well, when your grass blades, your leaves, can't absorb water because of this surfactancy level, nothing's going to absorb in. It's going to go directly into the soil. And if we're attempting to deal with weeds, we kind of want to decrease the surfactancy level and wash things down. Clean up, in other words, so that we can deal with that issue. Deal with it more efficiently. You know, I'm kind of a fan of keeping things neat and keeping things in order when it comes to my yard and my grass. But it's not lost on me that with too much surfactancy, I'm going to have an issue, both with water absorption and feeding and what have you. Because a lot of that surfactancy is a protectant that the grass blades and leaves in general, whether it be your grass, your flowers, what have you, they're all going to have an issue with this surfactancy. If you're going to water your yard, you're going to have an issue with surfactancy. You're flooding the soil, but what are you getting into your plants? That becomes an issue. You know, people who've got sprinkler systems already built into their yards, it's a little bit harder for them. They're relying on this sprinkler system to water everything, but this surfactancy level doesn't really allow the individual plants to absorb moisture through the leaves like it's supposed to. And we are kind of the cause of that problem. You know, gas engines, barbecues. Yeah, I'm definitely responsible for that one. But there's a way to beat it. There's a way to beat it. You know, I found the reason it came to mind is I found that a lot of this surfactancy causes your mower deck to bind up or to hold grass. When you're looking at mowers, make sure you have the ability to clean that deck in an easy fashion, whether it be hooking a garden hose up to it while it's engaged, or getting the thing in the air and getting it clean. And what causes me to point that out is that every time you cut your grass and or weeds, or a combination of both, and I know you're going to immediately go to and ask about, well, what about mulching? And what about, well, now, you can do either or. It doesn't matter. When life is right in the soil, your thatch layer is going to absorb what it needs to absorb, and things are going to break down the way they need to break down. Trust me. But what's sticking underneath your deck also causes, inefficiencies in the way your mower works. Those are high-tech designs to cause those blades to vacuum up your grass. A dirty deck is not going to work as efficiently, and your cuts aren't going to be as clean. You've also got some other things going on in there. You're grabbing seed. You're grabbing other chemicals from weeds, and you're spreading those. And you think about some of the seed sizes that you've seen on some of these things. They're pretty darn small, and you want to be spreading those out across your yard because your mower deck's dirty. You want to be efficient. You want to be as quick as possible. You want to be as clean as possible. Cutting that surfactancy level will increase your mower's ability to stay clean. Of course, a clean mower that's all, and I've seen guys out there polishing. I've seen guys out there Teflon coating decks. I've seen people really go overboard with this, and yeah, they've got some really clean equipment that requires very little maintenance. But we're talking about your house, talking about your home. We're talking about making this as simple, as fast, and as efficient as possible. Nobody wants to be out there cleaning up clumps of grass here and there, raking this out, raking that out. A clean deck is going to give you less work overall. As far as cleaning up, I'm not a fan of cutting damp grass. If I can't walk in it and my feet aren't coming away dry, I'm not cutting that grass. I'll give it a couple of more hours to evaporate, get rid of some of that moisture, because it's just going to clump up. It's going to cause me problems. It's going to be a mess. Grass too thick, that does it. Grass too wet, that does it. Running into the wrong kind of weeds that are spraying moisture all over the place, that does it. Oh boy, does it. Elephant ears are like some of the worst. It smells like skunk when you run over it. Those things just, horrendous. And I've run into it all. Size of your deck is going to make a difference. You want to be one step over the hard wheels. Okay? You want to be able to cut your grass on a weekly basis and efficiently cut it with the least amount of work. Now, there's some other things involved, and there's attachments, and there's this, and there's that, and there's blown up tires, and then there's wear on tires, and then there's the non-scalping wheels on decks, and we could go on and on and on. Our main goal here is to get you this first yard, this first year, right out of the box with the best looking lawn possible as quickly as possible. You know, I told you to put the deck down. We're getting ready to start cutting that brand new grass. If it's tight, like I said, you grab it between your fingers and you try and lift. If it's holding the ground, we're getting there. If we're not there already, you know, I'd say like the third week, we need to be cutting that. Now we've got to do totally the opposite now. Totally the opposite. We have to lift those wheels as high as we can go. Now I'm not saying you want, you know, a 5-inch cut. No. Depending on some tractors, you could literally get a 5-6 inch cut. No, we're talking about around your house, you know, 4 inches. Yeah, that's pushing it. We're up there. 4.5, 5. Yeah. We want to give that a chance to really root in while we're feeding the soil and using this trick to cut the surfactancy level. We want to get that deck up. We don't want to be pulling brand new grass out of the ground and have to start over. And I've seen it happen. I've seen guys go in with unbalanced decks because they can't get the wheels to move because their equipment's not clean and everything's rusted up and things aren't moving and floating around. Just go in and pull huge lines right out of brand new grass and sit there dumbfounded and can't understand what happened. You know, and I've seen guys where they will set their mower decks on an angle, front to back, so that they cut a little high up front and then they get their final cut in the back. I don't know that that's efficient or inefficient. It does a beautiful job cutting. I've never done it. Because anytime I go to take a turn or turn around, especially on a large square, when I'm trying to get square lines drawn in my yard, it shows. It incorrectly cuts. And then it grows back funny. And it's one of them things, it just gets to me. You know, but I'm cutting grass every 3 to 4 days. So those kind of things, you know, they pop up to me a whole lot sooner than most. And because I've got everything in my yard already, my grass thrives with little to no work. And that's kind of where I want to take you guys. Little to no work. Cut it once a week. Now, I know a lot of you are going to sit back and go, well, wait a minute. If we're going to go and feed that much, and we're not feeding. But if we're going to go and do that much, I don't want to be cutting my grass every 3 days. My grass is trained to grow that way. The more I cut it, the deeper the roots go. But the grass turns right around and grows back in on the green side just as quickly. Now, we could take a lesson from the NPK system, and we could be pushing more phosphorus in our soils and causing a lot more root growth. That is a possibility. I'm not sold on that avenue just yet, especially with your yard being an unknown factor. Now, I'm not saying we go out and get your yard tested, get your soils tested and find out what is going on in your yard when we're just starting out and we're just getting going. Your second year, maybe it might be efficient to do that and understand what's going on. But if you understand the lay of the land, you're going to know where things are already. You're going to see things. You're going to see grass growing slower or faster in different areas. You're going to see things. Grass seed will grow here and it won't grow over here. You're going to start noticing those inefficiencies. But at the same time, we're going to be putting things down that are going to change those levels. So look at your mower. How much do you want to be spending time cutting grass? What kind of lines are you looking to draw in your yard? Or are you just looking for that carpet like the golf course? That's what dictates the size of your mower. Don't go listening to the hardware guys. They're just going to tell you, oh yeah, for your size yard, you need this. Well, yeah, but how much work is that? How many times back and forth? Are you going to be able to get kits to do this, that, or the other and draw your lines and lay things down and really get that beautiful lawn that drives everybody else on the street crazy? You want to be 1 or 2 steps above what's recommended. It's more efficient. It's more powerful. It's a bigger deck, and it's going to cut it faster. You're going to be able to spend less time cutting grass and more time enjoying it. That's kind of the direction you want to be looking. To say that there is one manufacturer superior to another, well, you know, they're starting to come out with these cordless battery-powered mowers, which are great for your neighbors. If you're an early morning riser, and you want to get out there before that sun hits the grass on a full hardcore basis and get that stuff knocked down, more power to you. You know, those battery operated mowers and tractors are very, very quiet and very, very quick. I guess it's all in what you want to do. I don't like cutting wet grass. I'll wait till midday. I'll wait till 10, 11 o'clock in the morning. Let that sun cook a little bit. Let that grass go to sleep. Because it grows at night. It doesn't grow in the sunlight. That's when it goes to bed. At least that's my experience with it. So give it a chance to get to sleep. Give it a chance to get dry. And then get out there and knock it down. You know, for those of you that are going to be nuts like me and cut it every 3 days and go for the sculpted look, I guess it really doesn't matter, because you're going to be out there as soon as you get home from work, before you even walk in the door, knock that grass down and get on with your day. It's all in what you want to do. I'm a fan of blow up tires. Far sooner than I would be looking at a hard, rigid tire. You know, I'm going to preach that you never cut the same line 2 weeks in a row. Sometimes you're going to have half cut to get started, or you're going to have to double cut to keep it. It's just one of those things where, and I don't mean cut it twice. I mean, you're going to have to cut one direction all the time, where you're going out on the cement or out on the sidewalk and you're walking back around to come back in the same way. You don't want to be causing ruts in your yard. Balloons don't do that as well. They float a little bit higher. They distribute the weight a little bit better. And no, I'm not saying go out there and get the lightest mower possible. You're going to regret that. You want to be efficient. A light mower is not going to hold to the ground as well as and cause that grass to be sucked up into the deck the way it's supposed to be cut. And keep those blades sharp. I can't say it enough. Keep them sharp. If you've got to look once a month and get a little file and clean that off a little bit, because you'll find that sometimes that grass will actually build up on the mower blade. The blade itself needs to be cleaned off. Just taking a file to it, very brief, very just single pass type thing, may put that edge right back on that blade without even having to take it off the deck. It depends on your ability. That's another part of the equation. What's your ability should dictate what kind of mower you're looking at. Again, I go for power. I go for the biggest balloon tires I can possibly get on that mower deck, even if I have to put the balloon tires on after the fact. I want that thing to never rut my lawn, because I won't, like I said, I won't cut it wet, which contributes to the problem. I'll wait until the surface is dry, and then I'll attack it. And that's not to say that I never rake, because there are those weeks that I miss. And I've got to get out there and rake that top off, or at least spread the grass around a little bit better to keep from covering it and starving it for air, starving it for sunlight. But that's what you need to be thinking about as we're going into week 3. You're looking at that lawn. How much time are you willing to spend cutting it? You know, you could get out there with a weed whip and just knock things down and not care. And I know a couple of guys that do that. They still have beautiful lawns. They never scalp. But to me, that seems like a whole lot of work when you could just have a mower and go for a walk. And it's healthy. Get out there and breathe that green smelling oxygen, fresh cut grass. It's good for you. Get out of the house. Go get some fresh air. We don't want to spend a lot of time at it. Only what's needed. Alrighty, I'll see you on the next one. If you don't have it yet, get your hands on a copy of the Green Wizard's Guide. You're missing a lot of good details that I'm going to continue to reference. Y'all have a wonderful day.